Calling all beings. Calling all beings.
Can somebody get up the stairs, Brother Counsel. Can somebody give me an amen tonight? Because we about to get into it. Welcome back to Calling All Beings. I'm your host, DJ, and right over there is
Boston Via.
And the guest, my fellow homie from Nueva York. Party people, put them together for Chimi Speaks.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you guys again.
Yes, we've had an eventful week. From making cakes to celebrating Karen's birthday, you've been here. So
allegedly, it's a problem to make a cake on someone's birthday, but I digress. Whatever. It's delicious. I'm still snacking on it.
Look at all the love we got in here. We got our new mod here. Terry Doria is here. We got the Jewel of Indiana is here. Renee, your homegirl, is here.
Yes.
So we just got all kinds of love up in this joint. And we have this is what I was thinking for a format. What I was thinking to start off with this, we're going to talk about the really not believable stuff that's going on in the Kelsey case. Like, you're like, no, this can't really be happening. This has got to be a banana republic somewhere, west of French Guiana. Like, it can't possibly be happening. So anyway, what I thought we would do is Bia would explain to us what happened. And then we would go to opening statements. So after that, I would make an opening statement. Chimi would make an opening statement, and then back to Bia for her initial reaction. And then we're going to get to some stuff. I've spoken with this gentleman today, my brother, my Jewish brother, Martin Radner, Brother Counsel, the great.
Love him.
He's amazing. The great. Hi, Standing Stones, the great trial attorney from Michigan. And we're going to cover some of the material that he had on his show, and then we'll react further because he's going to tell you. Sorry, who is Chimi? Chimi's awesome. That's who Chimi is.
You gonna find out, honey? Okay.
You better find out. Chimi is a YouTube personality brought to the fore by JFK and the JFK Show, and Kevy Kev and Jay Brill and James Jackson. So, I'm doing that. This goes way back to the late 80s Knicks when Queen's own number 13 Mark Jackson was drafted by the Knicks, and the MSG channel would say Mark Jackson like that. So I decided that I was gonna say.
And it brings me back. It brings me back to like Janet Jackson, if you're nasty. Like when I hear James Jackson, I'm like, if you're nasty.
Obsessed with that. And look, I'm a New Yorker, but I don't do sports. I am not a part of that. It's too complicated. And I know to be a Knick fan, it hurts. Yes, you're dabbing the eyes because to be a Knick fan is a hard thing to do. And especially with like Boston right next to you. Ooh, I'm not getting involved. I don't know. We don't see. We're not doing that today. No.
I don't know nothing. So let's start out with what I'd like to start out with. Bia, do you want to just kind of tell us what happened, and then we'll play Brother Counsel's videos later, and you will find I know you guys know who Brother Counsel is, but you'll find all his links and so forth in
So what happened as far as when he went in the house, or am I
giving
a synopsis?
Kind of like we want to
the
do
whole Kelsey.
No,
case.
Not the whole Kelsey case. The break-in portion.
Okay, got it.
Which is, I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah. Go ahead.
So this week, Kelsey had a hearing. That on Thursday, it came out that a video was shown where Justin, broke into her home. This was on July 3rd. He went in with two additional gentlemen. He pushes in the door. and comes in, and they have him on surveillance going into the basement where he allegedly caused some damage, pulled out the modem, ripped out the security system. And it's also alleged in the documents that he stole her passport, stole gift cards, stole a very important note where he wrote, "You're such a great mother." And he also allegedly stole her laptop, which was then clocked in at his parents' house in Stowe. And he, from there, he accessed her bank accounts, changed beneficiary information, canceled a trip, and diverted funds back to his account. So all these things went on July 3rd, and while Kelsey was fighting for her life. At that point, this had happened 3 days prior, where she was shot, and she spent 53 days in Mass General, as we all know. But this was why she was fighting for her life. And this was the second time that he had broken in, because her father, who is a security expert, had changed the locks, had put in new cameras. So.
And you know what? I am thinking we should play a little bit of Brother Counsel, because I feel like it's a really good appetizer. And, you know, who among us doesn't like appetizers, right? Do you have a favorite appetizer, Chimi? Are you a zucchini sticks person, or?
No, I want everything deep fried and like smothered in something delicious. Like, you know, like give me all, like I will have the bread with the butter. I want like all of like the fried like rice balls. I want the mozzarella sticks. I want all the things. So I don't, when it comes to food, I do not discriminate. Like I love everything.
Yeah. So, okay. So, be a favorite appetizer.
I like the mozzarella sticks, like the chicken and the, oh my God, the potato skins. I love potato skins with some sour cream on top.
Yeah. Some bacon bits if you want to get real fancy.
Yeah. I was trying to throw Chimi a fastball. I figured the fried zucchini sticks where you dip it in the ranch, I thought you'd be all over that, but okay.
I mean, that's a move. You know, it has its place, but you know, it's a vegetable. And no disrespect to vegetables, but you know, I feel like an appetizer has to be like something like worth it. That bite has to be worth it. Yeah, and decadent. Like kind of like dessert. Like I don't need a lot of it. I just want that one good bite and I'm good.
Okay. I smell what you're cooking. Let's no pun intended. All right, here we go. Let's go with Brother Counsel.
To see if the parties are ready for trial. So really not too much of an exciting hearing, but actually the motion that was just filed that we broke down just a couple of days ago was brought up. Yes, that's right. That video of Justin, which seems to be that he is breaking into Kelsey's apartment and Kelsey's house, and according to the filings, took some of her property from there, which some would say constitute burglary. Well, that actually came up in the hearing, and we're going to hear the Commonwealth's position about why they did not choose to charge Justin with anything related to that, what seems to be breaking and entering. So just to remind you what this looks like, this was the video that we played for you a couple days ago. It was going around social media, as you'll see. This is Justin gaining access to Kelsey's house.
Another word for breaking in. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look like he had a key. Okay. Oh, the Oakleys fell on the floor.
All right, coming in with some buddies and obtaining some property. His property, Kelsey's property. That's, I guess, have yet to be determined. But according to the filings, some of Kelsey's property mysteriously went missing after that appearance of Justin in her house. So there was just this hearing, and it actually came up. And let's see what the Commonwealth's position here is. Why they don't feel that that's any sort of crime. Is there anything to talk about? Is there anything to see there? Let's see what he has to say.
Brace yourselves, everybody, because you're about to hear that you can just call the local police department and tell them you're going to break into someone else's domicile, and it's okay.
defense counsel sent my office a packet of information, including, and we have the video of, oh no, we didn't have the video. He sent video of Mr. I'm going to call him Justin. I apologize. I'm having trouble with his name. Entering the house on
Maybe you should have practiced before the.
And the Commonwealth, and what is omitted from the defendant's argument, and he has this, and he knows that the day before this happened, Justin called the North Andover police and asked if he could enter the apartment. He told them that the defendant was on the deed. But
oh, so you can just ask the police, can I enter someone else's house? And if they say yes, then it's not breaking and entering. So all the all the trials you guys have seen and watched, and all the people the B&Es, it's not all you need to do is call the cops, say I'm breaking in because I've stayed there before. Good to go. Okay, great.
he had property there, and they told him he could go in. On the next day, where this video is, he calls again and says, I need to go into the apartment to get my stuff. He asked for a police escort because he's afraid of what the defendant and the defendant's family would do if he went in there. He was worried about his words, vengeance. Okay? And so he does go in. He does push the door open. He goes in to retrieve his items. With a police escort.
And just so I can clear it up, pushing the door open is another way of saying breaking in, just in case. The language is a little skewed there.
No, the police didn't come. At that point, the alarm went off because I'm assuming there was some surveillance video in there and an alarm system. Sure. When the alarm goes off, he calls the police and he says, can you come here, please? The alarm went off. I'm worried that the family of the defendant will come, and I'm worried what will happen because they're very vengeful about the whole situation. Okay. And they said, we're not coming, but if he shows up, let us know and we'll come and keep the peace. He then gathers his belongings and left. Okay. So we can't look at a crime. The Commonwealth, in any case, does not look at the crime in isolation. We have to make determinations when we're looking at cases, okay? Justin has also filed an affidavit in court.
In this court or in the?
No, in the probate court, as the restraining order, which 3 judges have not been found credible. And the defendant has yet to litigate that motion. And so we have information from the defense about what happened, about this breaking and entering in this supposed theft of evidence.
Supposed theft.
Well,
did he own the laptop?
We reviewed it.
Dummy.
In an abundance of caution, we asked Middlesex to look at it, and they were going to take a look at it. At that point, Attorney Copley called Middlesex, the first assistant, about that. Middlesex then called us and said, we can't do it. We don't want to take a look at it. We think we have a conflict now. So our office then looked at it, and we determined that we are not going to charge Mr. Alien for these crimes. I don't know if he even knows that this is out there. I don't know if he even understands that there are charges that the defendant is alleging occurred. I haven't talked to him about that. If I'm
sure you haven't.
Concerned, I'll tell him that we're not charging him with.
Yeah, he's really stupid. He didn't know that he wasn't going to be charged. He just decided to B&E, and he had no idea that you were going to not come arrest him, dummy. Okay, go ahead.
Based on the entire circumstances of this case, the Commonwealth is often in the position of
doing the wrong thing,
analyzing cases when there are dueling issues and dueling statements, and we have an obligation to parse those out. And if we don't believe there's probable cause, we don't charge. That's what we have here. The Commonwealth has made the determination.
That bailiff is going, this is such bullshit.
But in the whole circumstances of this case, that we are not going to charge him. If If at some point during the case, Your Honor thinks he has a fifth, we'll immunize him. But we haven't told him that. Defense counsel is now on notice that that is our position. So is it a promise, award, and inducement? It is what it is right now. Okay. So they're on notice of that. All right. So.
All right. So if you remember, what they're talking about is really what the focus of the motion was, is what we really broke down in our last video on Kelsey Fitzsimmons, is that really what that motion was seeking is to see if there's any promise, inducement, or rewards that were given to Justin, that in order to get him to cooperate in the case against Kelsey Fitzsimmons, which very often happens. So that is discoverable, it's Brady material, and they're making a specific demand for it to see, because otherwise, why? I mean, something doesn't add up. After seeing all that, why would they choose not to charge Justin? There's got to be some issues there. Also, we spoke about Officer Noonan. There's got to be some sort of promises or rewards or back deals, So what exactly? That's really what their motion was about. Okay, but it's informative to hear what exactly their position is. Now, they made it pretty clear that they're not going to charge Justin with anything. So their story is, okay, now this is what the prosecutor just said, okay? So don't blame me that I'm saying it and it sounds so ridiculous, but this is what they just said. They just said that what happened is that the video that you just all saw, that we played for you in the beginning of this video and the last video, that was actually the second time. That was the second time. There was actually a day before that Justin also accessed the house, which he is not on the deed and does not live there according to his own affidavit. He lives with his parents or something. So he doesn't live there. He calls the police. This is what the prosecutor just said. Okay, so don't blame me. He calls the North Andover police and says, "Look, I got a problem. I left some property by this house. Now, I don't own the house. In fact, I'm not on the deed. I don't own the house. I don't live in the house. But I've got some property there. Can I go and retrieve my property?" Okay, that's the first day's phone call. And the North Andover Police Department, according to what the prosecutor just said sure. Yeah, you can go access the house. It's not your property. You don't live there. Somebody else lives there. No problem. You've got property there, so you can go ahead and access the house without anyone's permission, without anyone's consent, and go ahead and get your property. No problem at all. Enjoy. Okay, this is their story. Okay, so don't blame me. This is what they're saying happened. Then the next day, he has another problem, which also makes a ton of sense.
Oh my God.
The next day, he realizes that even though he was there the first day, without anybody pressuring him to leave, we don't hear any sort of issues that he had the first day of breaking down the door. It didn't seem like he had to do that the first day for whatever reason, but he was there the first day and apparently forgot some of his other property there. So he was there to pick up his property, but then he forgot that he left property there also. So he had to go back the second day. So he calls them again the second day and says, "Look, I know it's hard to believe, but I just left some more property there, so I got to go back." And then that's the video from the second day. Apparently the locks were changed and we've got that surveillance.
The door down.
And there was an alarm system. So now he calls the second day and says, "I need to go back there. And then I also want a police escort, by the way. I want a police escort." So the police says, "No, we're not going to give you a police escort." Okay, because even though you're very scared of the vengeance that the Fitzsimmons family may have for some odd reason, even though you're nervous about that, we're just going to kind of let it play out. And if you need us, just call us. We'll be a couple minutes away, and we'll just show up in a couple minutes when, an altercation could have already happened. But this is the story, right? They said, you don't need a police escort, even though you're terrified of these people finding out that you're there.
AK, we don't want to participate in the crime you're about to commit.
And there's new surveillance, and then in fact he says that the alarm goes off when he breaks into the house, and then he calls them back again and says, "Hey, the alarm just went off. They may be here any minute. We may have an altercation. We may have a problem. We really need police here." And they say, "Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. And if anyone starts to get a little crazy, then call us. We'll be right over. And hopefully by the time we get there, everything you'll still be okay with each other." Okay. Now, this is what the prosecutor just said is the story. Okay. Now, the reason why this is very difficult to understand and comprehend is that if you don't own a house, if you're not signed on the deed, you don't belong there. Even if you leave property there. So let's take an example. Okay. Let's say somebody out there, I don't know, someone out there has an ex-girlfriend and he wants to, they fell out. It wasn't a great relationship and it wasn't a good breakup. And, he's upset about it. Then he wants to make her life a little crazy. So he realizes that, I remember that some of the times that I was by her house, I left some property there. In fact, I left a pen there. I got a pen that I left there. So I've got property there. Now, he can then, according to the North Andover Police Department, according to the story, you can just go ahead and call the police. I mean, you don't have to call anymore because now we have their procedure in place. That is that as long as you have property in somebody else's home, you can go and break into their home and get your property. No problem at all. There's absolutely no problem. According to what the prosecutor just said, that's exactly what the North Andover Police Department just told Justin. You've got property there. You don't own the house. You don't belong there. You don't live there. No problem. Go get your property. Not only once, but twice, he can go ahead and get his property. So if in case any...
I'm gonna stop it right there real quick. And I'm gonna present to my co-host here a very radical approach. Something that probably is outside the bounds of reason. How about, because it's not like, there aren't divorced people or people, boyfriends and girlfriends who are leaving domiciles and they call the police and they say, can I get an escort? And then they'll coordinate with the owner of the home. So in this case, you're Justin. I know this is crazy. I don't want you guys to laugh at me. I know this is just nuts. Like, it shouldn't happen, right? You call Justin's parents and you say, I would like to retrieve my belongings, and I'm going to coordinate with the North Andover police to escort me to the house to pick up my things, my sports jacket, my Letterman's jacket from North Andover High School from back when I was a great basketball player. And then the police escort you over there. The parents of Kelsey are there. They're potentially they could protect, maybe, I don't know, maybe make sure that he doesn't take Kelsey's stuff and he only takes his Letterman's jacket from North Andover High School or whatever the hell he left there. His, his Air Jordans or something. I mean, does it take a brain surgeon to figure out how this works? You call the family and say, I need access to the house to get my belongings. I'm going to coordinate with her family, because what happened is this asshole went there and his key worked one day and they knew that he accessed the house. So then he went back the next day when they had changed the locks and installed the security system. And that's when he goes, and he calls that push the door open. You're a lawyer. Do you think we're all stupid and we can't see what you just said? You're trying to influence the judge. Does that look like you push you broke into somebody's home? You can't just call the police. I can't call and go, yeah, Chimi and I, we were hanging out a couple of weeks ago and I left my Letterman jacket at her house. Do you mind if I just break in and go get it? Why didn't he just call the family and coordinate to go get his stuff? And now they're talking about immunity and favors. I mean, it never surprises me that they always, I've said I wasn't going to curse today. I'm going to try. I'm going to try not to curse. They always do the wrong thing. Every single time. Chimi, take it away.
I mean, look.
Namaste.
Namaste. That was excellent. Good for you. I might curse. I don't know. I'm going to also try my best not to. But since the very beginning, I have said that his energy is giving very DL on the down low, just because how you are reacting this way, it just shows an immense jealousy towards Kelsey. And there is nothing more dangerous than a man who you have a child with who's jealous of you, period. And it just is almost like, when you really think about it, the reaction or response to this whole situation is so overdone that you're like, this just doesn't add up and it's not normal. In addition to how blatantly obvious the DA is behaving, it's like you're trying to basically gaslight us into thinking that what we saw with our own eyes didn't happen the way that the defense and how we all can see it happened. So there's a lot of layers to this whole situation. And, you know, like Karen, Kelsey has a purpose to bring this particular office, this particular situation, what's going on there to light. And what I will tell everyone is that now is the time that everyone should be asking for discernment. Don't let people trick you into thinking that what you saw wasn't real, because there's a lot of weird stuff happening in the world right now. This being one of them, that it's so obvious that it's like wrong, but we're here giving this person who's caught on video, allegedly stealing things. I don't know. We don't know. It's not on video. There might be one later. But from what we saw, he's breaking into her house, period. Like, no one's going to take that away. Like, let's be honest. But it's just really scary. I mean, the thing is, like, you know, it puts into perspective a lot of things about relationships. And I've said it from the beginning. This man is just giving that he hates this woman. And he is very jealous of her, in my opinion, because of like maybe what she's done and accomplished in her life, got her pregnant, and now they have this baby, now takes the baby away from her and is given that ability to do it without any other like feedback from Kelsey, does some really grimy stuff, like breaking into her home while she's hospitalized, fighting for her life. Like, what are we doing? That's not normal. It's not. Let's stop trying to pretend that this is okay. It's not. So I'm gonna need Massachusetts to get it together, okay? It's not normal. I refuse to be gaslit into believing that this man shouldn't be charged with something. That's just my 2 cents.
Like you said, a lot of layers, perhaps more layers than the cape you made for Karen the other night.
There were 4 there. I don't know. This might be like a 20 tier, okay?
Yeah. And now let's pass it over to the woman that you've coined the icon, the moment,
period.
the queen,
icon, the moment, the
red lip queen, Boston Bia. Take it away.
All right. Well, as you were talking, Chimi, I wrote down a few words. The first thing is, I mean, let's just take a step back. They were engaged to be married. They were living together. They had a child. They were supposed to be getting married October, 4 months after this happened. Well, it happened June 30th, so it was really closer to 3 months. They were supposed to get married. Something happened during that bachelorette weekend that put them on this, you know, imminent breakup that took place. Now, he's coming at her. And keep in mind, another thing that we need to not forget is that before this June 30th event and that bachelorette weekend, she had custody of her child. They lived together. He would be out because he's a firefighter. So they work 24-hour shifts. She was the one taking care of her child. The police was never called. She had postpartum depression, which she sought help for. Again, doing everything the way she was supposed to be doing. For him to come out with this vengeance, to want to hurt her to the point where you're taking a breastfeeding child away from its mom, that is just such horrible. I can't even imagine, because there's no words to describe that behavior. It's gross. It's vengeful. And the other thing, this DA just downplaying everything that took place. You're literally watching it and he's a firefighter. They break down doors. He's a professional break-in person. You know what I mean? Like, so he literally just busts his way and you're going to say he pushed the door?
Yes. Yes.
Like, what? Like, we didn't see the door was like almost lopsided when you see it. Like, there's like a bend in the door because the force he used. But anyways,
the audacity for me.
Right.
Like, you're really lying up here. Like, right. What?
So in 22 days, this trial is going to start. I think there's going to be a lot more information. And I think we're going to get to hear, because Kelsey has said over and over, there is more in her attorneys. There is more information. And we can't believe we see the audacity of this man to just take the child away from its mom without the courts even hearing a word from her. So you can just go and, just say, oh, this is a bad mom. Let's start taking babies away. Like, how does that even happen without hearing what the mom has to say? So this whole case is, again, bringing out corruption. I don't understand how this man is so connected that they're literally covering for him.
This is kind of the broader context. I want to go there, but I just wanted to go for this event.
I have to go there.
Well, no, I want to go there, but I just wanted to go with this event that happened yesterday. And then we can get into the deeper complexities because, Brother Counsel talks about it in the video before this one, is that I can't believe that you could just go ex parte, take a child away. So all that, what you were just talking about. But as far as the break-in, Bia, can you break down for us the difference between him being a boyfriend and staying there, and if he were, for example, a renter?
If he was a renter, he'd have rights because you would have signed a lease where you have the right to be there. Until your lease is ended, you have a right to be in that property. When you're living with somebody and you're not on the deed, you do not have, once the homeowner tells you move out, and according to also, don't forget, on that restraining order application, he swore that he lived in Stowe, Massachusetts. So he, before this incident happened, already stated that he lives elsewhere. He's not on the deed. He had no right to be in her home. And for the North Andover Police Department to be called and they refuse service, that you're saying I want an escort to a house, and they actually, so I think there's even more with that. And like you said, they didn't want to participate in this crime, but how can you, if somebody's asking for an escort, how does the police just be like, nope, you take care of this on your own.
Yeah.
You got it.
You break in by yourself.
That doesn't even make sense.
You got this, buddy. You got it, man.
You know what I'm saying? How do you call the police twice and be like, I need an escort? And he even mentioned that the family could have some kind of vengeance, or believe he used the word vengeance. So basically, he's telling the police he's afraid for his own safety and his own life. And the police is just like, nope, not today. You got this one, Justin, excuse me. I'm so used to talking about Justin Ruth that. But anyways, so how does the police just say, nope? How is that even a thing?
And let's humor this jack off for a second, this DA. And I don't know, I'm sure he's an assistant DA and probably not the DA, the same guy who said, oh, I don't want to get involved in the Enrique case. He used to work here. We love him so much. Such a sweet kid. I feel so bad. We're going to turn it over to another corrupt county to investigate. Well, thank God they found David Meyer. My God. But I'm going to humor these jack-offs for 1 second. Let's say that I'm the North Andover PD and he says that he left stuff there, and using what Bia just told us, which is if you're not a rentor, you don't have a signed lease agreement, and this individual says that he lives there or that he has property there, what would you want? What would you as the police want to see before you even illegally give him access to the house? Because you have absolutely no right at all to give access to this woman's house. None. But let's assume for a second that the three of us are going to be kind to you idiots and we're going to humor you. That's what we're going to do for you here on CAB. Did you ask to see that he made a mortgage payment? Did you see a canceled check that says he gave Kelsey half the mortgage payment? Did you see that he paid the gas or the electric or any of the utilities at all? The water, the sewer, the trash? Did you ask him to provide any evidence that he was actually a resident in that home, or here's a likely thing, Chimmy. Oh, well, he shares the fire department, you know, they share the building with us, so I'll just take his word for it. Is that what happened?
Look, clearly, I don't know what happened with these people. I cannot humor it because it's just so audacious that like we're even here. You know what I mean? Like we are at a point in witnessing corruption so blatantly in your face that we're all in shock and horror that we can't even believe that this is even real.
Sarah's
like,
in the chat.
what's up, girl? But you just really, it's like, it kind of just is deflating as a taxpayer. And I'm not even in your state, but I know there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in New York too, that you put your trust in these people and it's just so easy for them to just lie to your face. And they're like, well, you're going to pay your taxes anyway. So whatever, we can still continue to abuse our power and you're going to have to deal with it. So cases like these are imperative. And not only that, but what does this say to people who now are going to be able to break into people's apartments because now it's okay. They saw it on the news and there's going to be people that are going to take advantage of that. And that's something that, you know, when you are in these positions of power, every step that you make, you're going to have good and the bad. And when you have something so blatantly wrong and you're co-signing it, you're giving the okay for other people to do the same thing. That's the terrifying part. So if I were anyone in a similar, God forbid anyone is in a similar situation as Kelsey, really have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, because what they're signaling is that if you're a single mom or you're about to get married, and thank God they didn't get married.
Oh my God.
Because imagine he would have had the legal grounds to do this stuff if they were married, at least in some way, right? But what it tells you is that if you're in a similar situation, the police doesn't really care about your safety either. And that's terrifying, that if you are in a bad relationship, that person has authority, even if they don't live there on the lease or whatever the case may be. They can just go into their home and collect their property. Did they even ask him what property was left there?
Yes.
Like, what is it?
Yeah. So
like,
if it was so legal, why weren't you there? Why weren't you there to accompany him? Is that your laptop right there? I mean, those are the kinds of things. I'm really sad for her that he had the password to get in her laptop, unless he had it cracked somehow, which I wouldn't put that. You can't put anything past any of these people.
Exactly. Nowadays, you can't do that. And that's the terrifying part. It's like, where are the safety measures for citizens to be able to just be like, all right, I'm going by all of the rules, but then you allow a certain group of people to get away with certain behaviors. And then that now destroys the trust in the system. So maybe it is the system has to burn to the ground. You know, I'm all for it. Look, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, but I am for it just because it's like,
not the DA's office, the system.
The system in its entirety. Like, and it's not just that system, it's a bunch of them. But since we're localizing it to just this specific scenario, it just shows that the people who are in the positions of power currently are just not competent to be able to do their job if they're allowing this type of behavior to continue, period. Like, that's just, it's unacceptable. And if you're a tax-paying citizen there, demand for that person to be looked into. All of this stuff is going to come to the light anyway, but you have power in your voice to say no, and enough is enough. No is a complete sentence, y'all. Do not accept this, because the minute you give somebody the ability to get away with this, they're going to try even more. And then guess what? That means that your rights are violated, and then you get stuff taken away because you're too afraid to say something. We're not putting quotes over fear, because we on CAB, okay, today, we are not doing fear. Don't allow people to scare you into what your rights are. No one should break into your house, period. That's my rant.
The other thing I was going to mention too is that they don't even know how to say his name. They're protecting this man. It's a lay-in. It's a lay-in, please. It's not that hard. It's not an alien. It's a lay-in. Seriously. But, you know, but for the DA to just, that's what I was going to say. I really hope, and I can't wait to hear the 911 recordings. I hope that comes out on trial to see how the police gave this man who does not live there, who is not on the deed, permission to enter a home that he did not belong just because he allegedly claimed to have property in that home. So I really can't wait for that to come out where the police refused service. They had told somebody, hey, B&E, go for it. You got permission. I can't wait to hear it.
Unless that was a setup, because the police can't be that dumb, right? Like, I mean, respectfully, I want to trust in these institutions and there are good cops, but unless that was on purpose, you know what I mean? Unless they were like, yeah, just go. Cause you know what? Like our hands have to be clean to some capacity and it's on you regardless. So that could be a tactic. I'm just saying like, well, it might've been intentional. I don't know.
That runs counter to what the DA just said. And so let me let brother, so Julie is asking if we can play it again. I'm not going to play the whole thing again, but I'm going to kind of get Brother Counsel's closing statement because he basically said, we don't intend to charge him. And they talked about favors or something akin to or analogous to favors.
Yes.
And
so that's something that gets filed where they need to disclose as part of Rule 14. That is a standard form. So the form regarding the favors is something that's common practice.
Well, let's hear what he says.
Anybody has some sinister ideas about how to annoy someone very badly, not just annoy someone, but really harass someone. This is a great idea. Just leave your pen there. And then you've got the green light to break into that person's house. Because after all, you've got some property there. Now, the other problem with this, and therefore they don't think there's no crime here that was committed, right. Not even probable cause, no crime at all. Now, the other problem here is that according to the papers, he actually did take Kelsey's property, right? Passports and cash, right? Other things. I mean, there's some allegations in there that it could be that things that all of a sudden went missing from Kelsey are not there anymore. So that's number one question. Did he actually take property that she owns, which would be burglary, right? Even if you're allowed to retrieve your own property, I think even the North Andover Police Department would say you can't retrieve somebody else's property. You can go into their house, no problem. You can break into their house all day long, no problem at all, to retrieve your property after all. But you can't take somebody else's property. I think even they would agree with that. And then here the other problem is that what happens if you access somebody else's accounts without permission, without consent? Let's say you access somebody else's email address. Let's say you access somebody else's Facebook account. Let's say you access somebody else's banking information. Let's say you access somebody else's medical records. There was no explanation for that at all. Is that not a crime in North Andover? So these are all questions that we very seriously have, which is why I think that if any of this is true, that he actually called North Andover Police Office and they were somehow complicit with what just happened, I think she has a very nice and interesting civil rights claim. And I happen to know some very solid civil rights attorneys. And Kelsey should know my email address. You can definitely set that up. So that's what I think. I think once Kelsey beats this case, once she wins the trial, because of what we just heard in court, she may have a very nice civil rights lawsuit. Maybe aside from potentially other civil rights lawsuits, which she may have because of this whole situation there, we can be looking at a very interesting lawsuit right there. So that is the latest on Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And we will see as it gets closer and closer to trial. We'll see if there's anything more interesting that's going on that we have to explain to you. So that is going to be
parse those out. And if we don't believe there's probable cause, we don't charge. That's what we have here. The Commonwealth has made the determination, not in isolation, but in the whole circumstances of this case, that we are not going to charge him. If at some point during the case, Your Honor thinks he has a fifth, we'll immunize him. But we haven't told him that.
If he has a fifth.
Defense counsel is now on notice that is our position. So is it a promise of war and inducement? It is what it is right now. Okay.
So this is what I'm talking about, Bia. That is not Rule 14 related. Is it a promise? What do you say? A promise or inducement?
Right. What I'm saying is that document is something that gets filed.
Defense counsel is now on notice that is our position. So is it a promise, award, and inducement? It is what it is right now.
Is that a promise, award, or inducement? That has nothing to do with a Rule 14. That has to do with him saying that there may be a promise, an award, or an inducement to Justin. So what are we supposed to do with that? That's your boy that you're going to use to, and if we have to give him a fifth, didn't he say that? If we have to give him a fifth and immunize him, didn't he say that?
Yes.
So that means he can just go break into Kelsey's house because a promise, an award, an inducement, and at least a suggestion about a fifth. I mean, like I'm at a loss for words right now.
This man is protected for some reason. We don't know if it's because of his family. There's been a lot of rumors, of course, and a lot of allegations put out there, but they're protecting him either because they need him to testify against her for their case in chief or for some other reason, because they're going up over the top, allowing breaking and entering, allowing theft with no repercussions. So for some reason he's being protected and they're acting. And then Kelsey, the one who was shot, the one who lost her child, the one who spent $53 days, excuse me,
in the
hospital fighting for her life, is the one that's the bad person in this.
And went to jail.
Right.
And went to jail for a couple of months.
For like, yeah, for like
wasn't it 90 days?
Yeah.
Yep,
it was a long time. And all because like she couldn't breathe into this thing because I mean, she's like shot in the chest. I mean, what do you expect? Like,
and had to postpone a surgery.
Exactly. I want to get ValHallaw in here, and this is what I want Val to speak to. If you are this assistant DA, do you not see where this is going? Do you not see that there's prosecutorial misconduct here? Can you not see that there, as Brother Counsel just laid out, there's a civil rights claim? And by the way, Solomon Radner, Kelsey, that's his name, national trial lawyer, civil rights attorney, Solomon Radner, Brother Counsel's older brother.
He's great too, just saying.
He is, man. I mean, when he's been on and you heard him break down the Karen, he couldn't believe. Yes, I'll send you a link. I'll put the link right in here if you want to come on and talk about this. Give me a second real quick here. Oh, thank you, Sarah in Shock and Horror. There she is. Armad
Sarah.
For 10 CAB memberships. There it is, Val. I can't they see the road they're going down? Because what Val had told me, and thank you very much, Weird Debbie M, and thank you, Sarah in Shock and Horror, for being a CAB member for 7 whole months without a break in service. And
also New Hampshire dude did send a super chat, so I want to make sure you
I didn't see him. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, New Hampshire dude. Thank you very much, sir. Me
Hi,
and
New
Nan
Hampshire
send our
dude.
best. Yeah, that's it. That's the boyfriend of attorney Nan Gallagher.
Period.
And this is what Val says, that this is kind of what Bia is alluding to here. Was this JA calling on his parents' connections to get the baby and be a big jerk? Or did NAPD or Chief Gray solicit help from Justin to provide a new mental health issue to keep her off the force? That, I mean, given the episodes that Bia and I have done previously, here she is. ValHallaw, good evening. The official attorney of Calling All Beings.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Oops, sorry.
Good
Hey,
evening,
everyone.
Val.
Sorry, I don't know how to get my avatar to come up. Okay. Not that it matters.
It's okay.
DJ,
darling, what do you think?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Does this DA not see what's coming? When you look at the climate, you look at what's happened in the Karen Reed case and all the heat around that, and you see what's happening in the Enrique case. Why does this prosecutor get up there and tell people that it's okay that Justin broke into this woman's house.
Well, it's interesting because I was commenting the other day that, like, I can't believe that Essex County looked at everything that happened with Karen Reed and said, hold my beer.
That part.
Right? Like, it's almost, in some ways, it's almost worse than with Karen, I think. I mean, maybe it's not fair to compare them, but
yeah, it's so we always want to compare everything to Karen Reed, and she almost went to jail for a very, very long time. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, but you remember my New Year's resolution where I'm trying to come up with a analysis of everything. And I think that one of the commonalities that I see here, and this may be tolerated by the DA in Essex County the same way it was in, by Judge Bev and by Norfolk County, is there's a intentional failure on the part of the police to do normal, standard operations in terms of both investigation and in, like, carrying out their duties. Like they go to this house of this new mother, but they don't bring CPS. They don't have anyone there. I think her mother came later, but they don't. They're showing up and taking away her whole life, and they have no one there for her. There's no friendly face. There's not even like a disinterested bureaucratic face that she might be able to turn to. And what the hell were they doing letting him come? And he was, like, hanging around I was looking at the police report and his statement. Like, he kept hanging around the stairs to the basement. It was really weird. Like, I mean, even just him, he shouldn't even have been on the property. And all I can imagine is, I think, did you ever read Dune?
No, I hear I should read that. I heard it's a great book.
It is, but my analogy doesn't work if you read it. But I think that when people have been working in one mode for a really, really, really long time, until something happens directly to you, you just think things are going to continue in that mode. Like, do you remember, oh God, I can't remember how many years ago it was. Japan had a horrible tsunami, and it, like, flooded the nuclear plant, and it was just, like, horrible.
Yes.
2011, right?
Yes.
I was supposed to go that day to Japan.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
Yes. And
Cancel.
my flight, no, they were like, oh, we're still taking, like, Delta, I think, was, like, still taking flights to Tokyo. I was like, absolutely not. Give me my money back. So then we ended up redirecting to Thailand, and that was fine, but horrifying. I remember that. Oh, so sad.
Yeah, there's good documentary about that. I'm sorry, Val, continue.
I was watching a documentary, I don't know, like 6 months, a year later, and they were talking about how that was hardly the first tsunami that wrecked Japan, all the islands or whatever. And the previous one, I don't remember how much earlier it was, but it was before they had nuclear power. So although it totally destroyed the islands, but it didn't have the kind of melt the entire globe down factor with it. And they were talking about research from insurance companies, interestingly enough, about risk, about how people understand risk. And the fact is, most of us are really bad at estimating risk. And if you haven't personally experienced some horrible thing, the memory of that only lasts as long as your parents' generation, right? Like, I'm sure kids in the next generation down from me don't ever hear stories about like World War II and rationing and like all that kind of stuff, right? That was my grandparents or whatever. And I just think that it's this way of working is so entrenched throughout Massachusetts. I mean, it's not just Norfolk County, that they just can't imagine it happening to them, even though it's happening like right next door.
I think, did Val freeze? I think she might have.
I don't know.
have
Can
a
you hear me?
question. I have a question for Val.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Val, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so just for clarity, what I was trying to tell DJ is the the filing that this all came out in had to do with the non-prosecution employment protection and financial benefits. So this is something that gets filed before trial, correct? This
Yes.
is like a standard form. Because there's also one for Officer Noonan that they want to know if he received any financial benefits. So can you tell us about that, what this general form is supposed to do and the purpose of it?
Well, I think I've never dealt with those forms in court, but there were some very obvious, kind of everyday things that I'm sure we've all heard of, like when you have a snitch or whatever, and they let you off charges or whatever. But it's not just limited to written promises, and it's also not just limited to like dire benefits, like you don't have to go to prison. It's really supposed to cover any kind of promise, any kind of like, we'll help you out, any kind of quid pro quo, basically. And I think that the judge today, I haven't made up my mind about the judge yet, because I actually do think it's a Rule 14 thing. But anyway, he seemed to me to be not obnoxious like Cannoni, but kind of skirting away to like the least hassle possible, right? Like, like, oh, well, it's really Rule 17, send a subpoena or whatever. And like the whole, I didn't understand the whole thing where he's like, well, the DA wouldn't have what's his name? The partner there.
Elaine? Noonan?
Yeah, Noonan. I don't know why I just blanked that. Noonan's, his medical records or his personnel records, because that's all HR, whatever. But that doesn't matter, because anything in custody or control within the DA's office or any police office, any government staff whatsoever who has been involved in the action or the investigation or the follow-up or whatever, like probably even that the dispatcher that took those phone calls from Justin counts, they consider that within the custody or control of the DA. So I tend to think that it's a really interesting move for Bradel and Martha Coakley. But this is like it's a little bit of an odd version of a benefit. So, and I'm not saying that the DA would be correct to do it this way, but he's kind of arguing like, oh, well, technically, it doesn't qualify for that form. Do you know what I mean? Like spirit of the law, letter of the law going on. So, and I don't feel like the judge, well, maybe it's just my like vengeful Old Testament temper, but I felt like I wanted the judge to be like, are you freaking kidding me? You just lied to me and everyone in the public, and you're still lying. And now you're making it seem like, oh, we'll just immunize him against the fifth. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. Okay, so excuse my French now.
No, I just said I wasn't cursing. The rest of you can certainly.
Oh,
can
okay.
curse.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, then what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Just for tonight, you know.
So, Bea, does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I feel it was
yes.
kind of smushy of an
No,
answer.
no, that's fine. I was just saying that this is a standard form that gets filed, and I just wanted that for clarity, but you did answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about him saying that they may have offered favors and inducements to Justin and that they would completely immunize him if necessary. So I think we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
But now we are going to transition from Kelsey and her case to Chimi and her case. So Val, thank you very much for your legal analysis. There's going to be a lot more on this because you said to me at one point, you said, you know, you believe the judiciary in Massachusetts is very weary of Karen Reeds, of the Karen Reeds, if you will, and that Kelsey kind of brings back, if you want to call it trauma, following the law. I guess it is traumatic for them. Following the law is very difficult. Doing the right thing is very challenging. So,
DJ, can I
yes,
just,
ma'am.
can I just
Please.
correct myself a little bit on that?
Yeah.
That your last point. I think it's not that they're weary. I think it's that they're acting like. Do we have some Game of Thrones fans here?
Yes.
I've watched a little bit of it.
I've watched all of it.
Oh,
You're
okay.
speaking my language.
We have a little bit of King Joffrey going on.
Yes.
Whenever his will is foiled, he throws an absolute fit. And it's not a rational thing. It's not a mature thing. It's not a. I think in a way, there is a rebellion going on now. The public is rebelling and saying, what the heck? This is not right. All this corruption, all these lies, all this bullshit. This is wrong. And we're going to get online and we're going to tell you can't shut us up. And I think, I was trying to think of like a good historical analogy, but like, anytime you're a dictator, you have a dictator, and they are rejected or their will is thwarted in any way, they become furious, right? And it's like a way out of control emotion, furious. And they tend to, what's the word? Avenge themselves in totally disproportionate ways. I kind of think, I know I'm sounding really dramatic, but I kind of think that's what's going on here. Like, I think the judges are resentful and petty, and it's almost like they're looking for ways to be jerks to everyone, Karen and Kelsey, and even with like Sandra Birchmore, after the feds charged, what's his name? The DA was still like, oh, I had no idea it was going on. The feds met with the ME and they were like, no, we're just keeping our obviously wrong conclusions or whatever. And I just want to throw this out because I've been haunting the chat with this. So here's my thought, and I may be paranoid, but what if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if this is not Justin calling on his friends in government to help him ruin Kelsey's life? What if this is the police department with a vendetta against Kelsey, who recruited Justin to help them provoke a mental health event in Kelsey that would kick her off the police force forever?
I actually really like your theory because it does comport with the research that we've done with Chief Gray, with the former officers, female officers that filed lawsuits. I think you were in the chat when we did those episodes. However, if you think of it in reverse, how is the police chief of anybody going to convince you to leave the mother of your child and want to divorce her unless that's already in your mind? So it's possible that both things are true and that they're just collaborating together. You know, the friend, the the enemy of my enemy is my friend, kind of thing. You know, so it could be that.
Yes, that's a good point. It could be very synergistic, right? Because
Yeah.
some of the cops could have heard Justin bitching about his, well, she wasn't an ex yet, but his fiance and what a psycho she was, and whatever, blah blah blah. And someone could have said, "Oh," and the reason I even thought of it was because of that's. I'm sorry about this, but again, that's what they did with Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, right? They cultivated Kate, what's her name, and all these people, and Lindsay Gattani, to manufacture a situation to their legal favor. Anyway, I'm working on it. I'm working
All
on my
right, darling.
theory.
Keep working on that
All right.
theory.
Yes.
Thank
And-
you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Val.
Thanks for
Have
joining
a great
us.
Thank you,
night.
Val. Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you.
I'll be in the chat.
All right. Thank you, darling.
Yay.
Bye-bye. All right. Chimi Speaks.
Yes.
Okay.
I am present.
Yeah, present and accounted for. You know, when new people come into the community that we don't know, but they seem to have some really interesting thoughts, I thought we would kind of find out a little bit about you with what you want to share without doxing yourself. So with that, I'll turn it over to Boston Pia.
So, how long have you been covering, been interested in true crime? Is this something that just kind of came on from Karen Reed, or were you always interested in true crime?
So I got into true crime with Emily D. Baker when she was covering the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. And I was like, this is wild. Like, I just could not believe it. But I was already kind of in my era of observing patterns of behavior, like what people do. And celebrities are like, I mean, they're always in our face. So it was just interesting to see this manifest. But also just kind of what happened after the Me Too movement, and to see that Amber Heard was such a big voice, a part of it, use that movement to leverage getting Johnny in the position that he was in. And granted, they're both chaotic in their own ways and they both have their issues, but you just see the weaponization of your power. And if the movement is right, you know how to use it to be able to get at someone. And I was just fascinated. And Emily D. Baker did a great job at just breaking down the law. And I started to really get interested in how things operated, because a lot of it is, so many of us are ignorant to what our laws are, what our rights are, unless you specifically go to school to become a lawyer or you're interested in pre-law in undergrad. We don't really have like that access. It just is kind of so prestigious that, like, an artist like me, what am I doing? Like, looking at the law. But it's important to know, what your rights are, just in case, because you just never know, knock on wood, God forbid. And then I slowly started getting into Karen Reed, which just became like the unicorn case of corruption that just became bigger than OJ, or like the OJ of our time. And just to see all of the different characters and players and the sus behavior and like testing your intuition, that you're like, it looks funny, it is funny, and like really sticking to that. And that's where I was just like, I need to find like what's going on. So I found a bunch of different lawyers to watch, and I watched the trial, especially the second one through and through, the first one as well, all the motions, everything that happened pre-trial. And I just became obsessed with like, how is this going to end? Because I prayed so hard for Karen. I was like, God, thank you for covering her with your protection, because this is wild that an entire state, an entire police force can orchestrate this event to target one person who is so unlikely, a professional woman that didn't have kids, like, had her own money, did her own thing. Like, if it can happen to her, it truly can happen to anyone. And that was the terrifying part. So I kind of got into it for those reasons as well. It's just like, what's happening? Like, what are we doing here? I don't know. I don't belong here. 100%.
If you were to log on to your own YouTube channel tomorrow and you were to broadcast it about something, what would be the genre or topic you would choose if you could choose anything?
I think it's understanding and mastering yourself. A lot of, and look, I don't have a degree in any of this stuff. It's just strictly observation. So I feel like I'm back in the era of where all the philosophers used to gather together and like, you see these observations, like that's kind of how I am. I'm just like having conversations, making observations and taking notes, and like the math is not mathing here. What are we doing? But a lot of it is also driving people back to themselves and learning to trust themselves. That's kind of I guess the crux of what I'm very interested in, is in guiding people back home to self.
Do you have something, Bia? I don't want to get in your way.
No, that's fine. But I am curious. So where do you see yourself moving forward? Do you think that you'll continue to come on YouTube and keep using your voice, since it is so powerful and everybody seems to resonate with everything you're saying?
Thank you. I mean, I think that what I've learned in just having this like really wild time, like I truly would not have imagined to be here. I still am just like, is this really what? Who, me? With these ruffles, honey? What? But I like still am just like, what I enjoy is the collaborative effort. I don't really care to have like my own YouTube channel. Like that's not what I want to do. I actually write. I prefer to write, and I'm not the best writer, but I feel like I can articulate my thoughts a lot clearer. I love to draw. I love to bake. Like there's a really big creative energy that I have that it can be translated through something that's a little bit more intentional. So YouTube can be a little bit of a burnout for what I'm trying to do. And if my voice is needed and necessary, I listen to my inner compass and will be like, look, if this feels right, I'll go for it. And if not, then I know to step away. But that's a big boundary that I had to learn for myself, because yeah, I could easily go on YouTube and start something, but I want it to mean something. I don't want it to just be like, oh, here, look at my face. I don't care about that. I initially didn't even want to put my face on the internet. And then I did. And I was just like, all right, fine. I'm already out there, whatever. Especially in a world where privacy is so limited, you want to kind of protect whatever little shred of it you can have. But I know that my voice has done great things, and I'm very grateful to be given that opportunity to do that. So I just want to be intentional about it. So if I can share like a clip from this on my channel, and then you know what, the algorithm gods are like, today you are viral, girl, everybody's winning. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it'll be you guys, it'll be me there. And it's like, I just think that there's enough for all of us to elevate. So that's my energy, is to be in a more collaborative space, if anything.
With me, it was a little bit different. It was, I wanted to put my face on the internet. It's other people didn't want me to put my face on.
Oh, geez.
So it's kind of
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop.
All right, there we go. Chimi, if you had to tell our friends out there, our audience, 3 things that you feel like you have expertise in, and 3 things you'd like to learn more about, what would those be?
So 3 things I would tell people is that you have a lot more power than you think.
No. I think you misunderstood the question.
Sorry.
3 things that, okay, tell our audience 3 things that you feel you have expertise in, and then 3 things you would like to learn more about.
So 3 things I feel like I am an quote unquote expert in is baking, but then that also comes with the will to be able to learn. Saying no, which is a complete sentence, and that's just with the will of learning how to honor yourself and your own boundaries. And speaking of boundaries, I'm very good at boundaries and understanding what I'm going to be okay with and what I'm not going to be okay with. And as a recovering people pleaser, it's important to enforce those. And even if others don't understand why, you can't put that responsibility on someone else to be able to do it for you. You have to be the one to enforce it. And it's going to hurt some feelings, but you have a right to exist on this earth as you choose, as long as you're not hurting anyone intentionally. Definitely that. So bake because you can, say no because you can, and have boundaries because you can. Now, things I would like to learn more about. I think I'm kind of just exploring the spiritual space and what it means to be human. That's one. Secondly, how to be the best version of yourself, what that means. I still don't know like entirely what that means, because I think it kind of evolves as we age and just with our experiences. And the last one, I mean, can I meet Bigfoot? Like, I mean, like,
The Adirondack.
Well, you came to the right
I had to do
place.
that for you, DJ. I had to do it for you.
Yeah, you came to the right place for that.
Listen, I feel like Bigfoot and I would just spill all the tea. Like, Bigfoot, tell me everything. What's going on? Give it to me straight. What is happening?
What's your relationship
I want to know.
with UFOs?
Yes, I want to know everything. Are the aliens actually as crazy as they seem? And P.S., if they wanted to take over, I think they would have already. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm just open to learning anything. And wherever I'm guided to go, I want to make sure that I'm as informed as possible. And I don't ever profess to be right about anything. I'm always just like, I'd rather be wrong. And I'm okay with that. Like, it's a part of your growth and a part of you learning. So it's just being as open as possible to that is what I want to also still learn. Because, you know, I'm a Taurus and we can be a little stubborn to a fault sometimes. But it's great when it's needed. But, you know, it's okay to be wrong, essentially.
And I need to be a recovering people pleaser one of these days. I need to work on that myself. So I'm happy for you that you got there, because that for me is such a struggle, because I have a hard time saying no, and it's always at my detriment. Like, I truly don't want to do something, but I always say yes because I don't want to disappoint anybody, and that's a tough one for me. So I hear you.
Yeah, this is topical. We just had a conversation about boundaries. And it's difficult, but you have to be able to set boundaries and have somebody else go, you know what? I respect that. And if they can't respect that you have a boundary, it's a them problem. It's not a you problem, because everybody has a right to have them. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's my issue, because I don't give boundaries.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, sure, okay, yes, whatever you want. Yep. But inside, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. And then,
yeah, but can I speak about that, Bia? This is one of the things that makes you amazing, that so a lot of people that are out there that are in the chat don't know what kind of a friend you are. And I do. I've had that benefit, because I've got to meet with you on many, at least several occasions we've met in person. And she's such a kind, giving person. So in a way, it's kind of like what you see is what you get, but meaning for you guys in the audience. But Bia is such a kind, giving friend, giving of her time. Some of these events that I've been to in Massachusetts, I think she had like 6 hours of sleep in like 3 days, maybe 5, for going back and forth from her home to Dedham and different events. And I'm thinking, like, I'm exhausted. I don't know how, like, and Bia's just like, go home, shower, that's enough, recharge your batteries. And she's back at it again at the next event. And you don't know how she does it, but she does it because she has another gear. Like, you go, you're in first gear. And for those of you who remember, a manual shift, and second and third, fourth, and then fifth. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. B has like a 6th gear that she goes to. So I've seen her do that on a couple of occasions. And it's really, I don't know how she does it, but she's just that kind of person that if she has to be there for something or someone, she's going to push through exhaustion, and she's going to be there. And that's just how it is. In the meantime, I'm like, oh my God, give me a flat surface and a pillow and taking a power nap. And she's like, no, I don't need a power nap.
No. We're going to keep going. We're going to show up with a smile, and we're going to kick ass.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you have such a big heart, but in a world that we live in, it's important to maintain a level of understanding that self-sacrifice isn't necessarily like the route you want to go on because it's not sustainable for you. And that's something that, you know, as a parent, and I know you're a fabulous mom, we kind of get into this position where self-sacrifice is what we're just told to do. And I know you can relate on the Latin aspect as like, you know, that's the culture too, right? And breaking that is difficult, but it's also necessary because I think that a lot of us forget, like, well, at least in my opinion, our children, just like our relationships with people, this is all borrowed time. And your soul exists in this meat suit vessel that you're in. So this also needs to operate in the way at its highest ability so that whatever you're giving extra is the abundance, but that this maintains its 100% structured, filled, full, happy, whole, and everything else that comes afterwards is the extra that you're able to give to others. Now, for our children, it's a little bit different because they're new souls and they're just so malleable in a lot of ways and believe in certain things. And we're going to protect them at all costs, right? So you bend a little bit more for your children, but for like adults, I'm like, listen, honey. Especially older adults, no shade, okay? And younger ones too. But if you have made a choice to exist as you choose, I respect that. And I also respect myself enough to know that if I can't vibe with you, I'm not going to force it. And I'm just going to allow for things to be. That part is so unsettling for so many recovering people pleasers because people pleasing is to some degree, like it gives us a level of control. So learning to release that and just allowing things to be was one of the biggest and most difficult hurdles, but you can get there because you matter too, right? Like you have to exist as the beautiful icon moment, the legend that you are. And you have to have that for you. You need to have your moment for you because your soul that's in there has a purpose for being here. So everyone else is on their own contracts too, right? We're just all here at this specific moment in time. But if you're not operating at your best, it's going to be difficult to give to others. And then you're depleted. We don't want that. No,
I get it.
Not.
But I also, as a people pleaser, I also don't like to disappoint. So I want to be dependable. I want to be a go-to person. And that gives me joy. So even though sometimes I do things I don't want to do or commit to things I really necessarily didn't want to do, the minute I give my word, that is my word. And right. I stand by that. So, you know, that's big for me is that gives me a sense of pride that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I will do it.
But let me just interject. What Chimi is saying is you don't have to say you're going to do it.
Right.
If you said you're going to do it, okay, that's a different story. She's
True.
saying you don't have to say you're going to do it just because someone else wants you to do it. True. It can be whatever you want to do.
This is like turning into a therapy session for
I
me.
know.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to go there.
Okay,
you know what's so
Venmo
crazy?
Is Chimi Speaks -1 at PayPal. I'm just kidding.
like it just feels like a lot of people say, and I've seen it in the chats and everyone who's like, can I get you for a session? And it's like, I am not a therapist, but I do believe, and I want to also say this too, like, because I had like a big talk with Alex on JFK's platform. I'm not licensed or educated in the, system case, but I'm a human who's able to have a conversation with someone who needs to be heard. That you don't need a license for that. And if we learn how to listen to others and we allow for the space for people to speak from their heart, especially when it's something so like personal, it's just giving them a safe landing spot. It's not about proving anything or trying to like throw a whole bunch of like psychology words or therapy words at people. It's not about that. I mean, remember the aunties and uncles of the world that would give you advice? Like we need more of that energy of like just people that you feel like are leading by example because they're practicing exactly what they preach. We don't have a lot of good examples of that anymore because it's become so overly saturated with how many people choose to make it into a career. And that isn't a bad thing. But when you start putting yourself out there, it can be very easy to switch it off and only think about money or switch it off and just put on a persona, and then behind the scenes you're doing the opposite, right? So you're just selling the product, but you don't know anything about it, or you lose touch with that. So that's a part of like why at least I don't feel called to do that for the time being, to like be a personality. Like, it's not about that. I'm just another human like everyone else who just, wants to have good conversations with people. And I think the more that we can participate in these type of environments and set this out there, you never know who's listening in the chat, who is kind of like in a transitional period of like, you know what, this advice hit me right now at this very moment, and that's going to change their life. No pressure, right? Like, and that's a beautiful thing, but that's why I take this type of speaking, I guess what I'm doing, the Chimi speaking, I take it very seriously, and I try to move very cautiously and tread carefully with it, because of the fact that my voice is truly becoming instrumental in helping people. And I don't want anyone to be misguided, essentially. So if it is a therapy session for you, great. I love that. It's a girlfriend session. Let's call it that. It's a girlfriend or friend session.
Yes. And it doesn't cost anything to be kind to people and show empathy. And you take the time to listen. And that's what I love about you. You take the time to listen and you show your empathy. So no amount of training could ever teach you that what you have to offer. So you have been amazing to the community and have been there. Whether you knew or not, you've helped a lot of people. And like you said, there's something that you may say that may resonate with somebody in the chat. And it's, I think you're great.
Thank you. That
I concur.
So much. Thank you.
And the thing, somebody in the chat said something about balance, and balance is important when it comes to these things, like adopting. Like Bia will tell you, she gives me advice on a lot of things that, that I just don't really know about, that she has a lot more expertise. There are certain things that I've adopted in my life. They'll try this, try that. And some, she can be resistant to it. And I think the important thing is not to make someone else's lifestyle become your dogma. You know what I mean? You have to have your own lifestyle, know what you want out of that, but you also shouldn't not listen to some advice and what somebody may have a life experience that would help you. So it's a balance. Don't have to accept somebody's dogma. Also want to be open to listening and learning, and maybe there's something that they can show you that you're not aware of, that you haven't tried, that might help you. That is not a rebuke of your lifestyle. That is simply a new pathway that you could take or not take. But pathways that you haven't walked down to see what that path looks like. You may see what that path looks like and go, you know what? And this kind of goes back to the Bigfoot thing. The people have been on Bigfoot hikes, and they'll get to a certain area in the forest, and people will stop, and they'll be like, I don't think we should go any further. What's the word I'm looking for? Bia, you've been there for some of these episodes. They're like, I'm going to use one of your words. They're feeling a certain kind of way, and I think we need to turn around and go back. And even Jim told us, right? Jim told us he was on a night hike with Bigfoot, because Jim takes out groups of people in the Colorado forest on these Bigfoot hikes and camping outings and even horseback. And he said they were out one night doing a night hike, and he's like, you know what? I have the feeling right now that we're close, that they don't want us closer, and they want us to go back. So, you in life, you can go down a path and at least investigate and go, I like this path. Might not like this path, or you know what? Going to press on and go further. So both things are true. Also, we did have someone in there that, let me see, that said something about Bigfoot, and it was Spunky Nana. She said, my grandson truly believes in Bigfoot. I hate to use that terminology because it makes it sound like God. I believe in God, which is different than Bigfoot isn't this thing that is viscerally existential, that tens of thousands of people have gone and written reports on the Bigfoot Research Organization website, Bigfoot Mapping Project, and I think there's even some others that have made a report. So it's not something that doesn't exist. Julie was saying in the chat, obviously she had a sighting as a child in Indiana, but with God, you can't physically see God. It's a spirit until maybe you pass to break on through to the other side, like Jim Morrison from The Doors. But that was supposed to be funny, Chimi. Okay. She's like, I don't know that song, man. I don't like The Doors. But
listen, DJ, listen.
But you could go to the Adirondacks and have an experience. And I mean, there are New York State troopers in the Adirondacks that have had experiences out on calls. It is a very, very real phenomenon. These creatures that seem to be some blend of human and a DNA. I mean, Dr. Melba Ketchum that did the DNA studies a decade ago. I think maternally they were human, and then the male DNA was something that was unknown. So when they looked at those genomes. So Julie probably knows a lot about too, because she also Bigfoot finds you. Yeah, there's no question. I mean, there's people that have seen multiple. There's people where they live out in the country and they come to the backyard and they look at your house and they come up to the windows, and then there's other people that just hiking and go, oh shit. So, but yes, it is a very real phenomenon. I have interviewed at this point probably over 100 people myself. And then, again, the reports are in the tens of thousands at the Bigfoot Research Organization from probably at least 48 of 50 states, from New York to California to Washington to Oregon and all those places that you would assume. And like I said, the Adirondacks is a biggie, as you would expect that kind of terrain where there's deer and there's fresh water and there's berries and all that neat stuff. So let's see.
That's awesome. I mean, look, I believe that it 100% exists. And I think it would be, I think it's kind of like even with the concept of God, like we don't see it. We don't see what God is. We've assigned a gender to God. We don't know anything. I know God is very present and makes all the money moves for me. Like, like the channel is real. Like I wouldn't do anything without one, having the discernment and the spiritual eyes to see. Cause JFK and the guys joke, like, I don't live in this world, and I don't. I live in a spiritual world. Mm-hmm. I see things from a spiritual lens of how things play out based on just everything I've witnessed. And I'm like, I can clock how something's going to end. And that just takes with you being able to understand, one, you have to face your shadow to know what you're up against. And that's the part of Carl Jung is like one of the people that I'm obsessed with learning so much from. And that process of integration is so it's part of the reason why I'm able to move the way that I do, knowing also too, that everything will be fine. I understand that I have an ego, as does everybody else, but it's learning how to integrate your ego into the things that you do, because you can't exist as just one version of each extreme. It's finding the balance between the two and knowing the healthy way to know how to walk that line. That, if anything, is what I preach and want to teach people who are ready to receive it, which that part in itself is something that my ego, if I wanted to take it there, I'd be like, I'm going to make you listen, versus being like, this is the information and now it's up to you. I'm just showing you the way. You're more than welcome to come on this journey. And if you don't want to, because I don't want you to follow me, honey. I want you to awaken what I already know you have inside of you to guide yourself. Because it's not about me or trying to copy me or anything that I'm doing. It's to awaken or bring the awareness to what you have the capability to do. That integration process is literally playing out in real time, because I have to constantly think in real time, I don't want this to come off like I'm being pushy to anyone. And I don't want this to come off like I'm forcing anything. I don't go to spaces where I'm not invited. I don't, try to push myself into these arenas either, knowing that if it's not the time or place, I have the awareness to know that I'm not going to try to convince anyone. That's not what this type of work is about or should be about. Because if you have the level of power to influence, I say this all the time, it comes with great responsibility. And it's a very fine line that you walk, because you can easily and that's the thing. It's like, I've seen spiritual people do all of this stuff, and then they get a little taste of fame, they get a little taste of money, and then all of the spiritual BS is like completely gone. And the whole purpose of why they began completely diminishes, because they value something else that's more material versus what this work is about. So if God, which I do believe, is using me as a tool to do this work, that's my boss. Okay. I am not playing around with my boss, period, because that's the type of boss that if that boss tells me I'm doing something wrong, I'm listening and I'm changing the behavior immediately. Everything else that exists on this realm, irrelevant. But if this boss, our boss, is like, girl, I'm trusting you with this responsibility, you better do it right. And this is how I'm guiding you to do it. If I tell you to go left and everyone's telling you to go right, you need to go left. That's what my boss says, period. It's done.
I think it's great that you have that kind of a relationship with God, and that's beautiful. I guess we receive messages at a different pace and at a different frequency. But I want to stitch back to something else you said earlier. I do feel like some of these episodes we have that deal a little more with we had on Dr. Michael Moschel, whose book about near-death experiences was very interesting. We're having a couple other guys, but yeah, we got to get you in on some other CAB episodes that aren't true crime and deal with those experiences that connect with consciousness and consciousness connection to other realms such as UFOs, even Bigfoot. Believe it or not, people have talked about mind speak with Bigfoot. So yeah, we need to get you in on another one of these episodes. So we'll endeavor to.
I may be a little controversial because I do think that consciousness has been hijacked to some degree, but that's for another day. that's a long rant, but I do think there's a lot that we don't know, that we kind of know on the surface, but that a lot of things have been hijacked. Look at our institutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to stand for something, but they've been hijacked by something much darker, and it's playing out in real time. So we can't assume that, or we can assume rather, that even in the safer spaces of what we believe near-death experiences are, could it be that it's intentionally written that way to kind of trust the light, go to the light? But is that a trap? I don't know. I question it. I question everything.
There's more parallels here. Thomas is talking about the little people in the chat. He was a Native American healthcare worker on a reservation for 14 years, and it is said that in some of these places, I'm going to send you the episode we did with Matt Knapp of Bigfoot Crossroads and Brandon. I'm going to forget his last name, Brandon of Tinfoil Tales. It was a fascinating, that was a mind-blowing episode. I'm going to send you that because Brandon talks about an area that Julie's familiar with in Indiana where two rivers come together, and the Native Americans talk about the paranormality of that area and what happens in those forests. And what you were talking about resonated with me, because some people the Native Americans say you'll hear the little children laughing in the woods, and it'll want to draw you further into the woods to go after whatever that laughing or sometimes baby crying is, when there is no baby crying out here in these woods.
It's giving entities. It's giving entities.
Yeah. So we're going to have to get you in on some of those episodes. Boy, this has been fun. Before we break, I want to shout out Brother Counsel, for providing the legal expertise and commentary. Oh yeah, Ruthie's talking about Skinwalker Ranch. We could do a whole episode with you guys on Skinwalker Ranch because there's so much that has gone on there. And let me tell you real quick before we go, we'll close with Brother Counsel. Colm Kelleher is a physicist. He's of Irish extraction. He was born and raised in Ireland, emigrated to the United States, was hired by the U.S. government. And he was one of the scientists when the government basically bought Skinwalker Ranch. And they sent a team of scientists and government officials out there to see what is going on in this area with UFOs, werewolves, cows that had the, I'm trying to think of the name. Julie, help me out here. Thank you very much, Kat Randall, for gifting 5 memberships from Peru, Indiana. Thank you. Jules, what is that happened? Oh, cattle mutilation, where basically there would be like, the cattle would have no blood in it at all. And then laser-like cuts where like the jawbone would removed, as if someone came up with a laser out in the cow pasture and cut the jaw out, or other anatomical parts of the cow. All kinds of crazy things has happened at Skinwalker Ranch. And obviously, multi-millionaire Brandon Fugel owns it now. And the History Channel pays him money to produce this show, The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. And he has Travis, tell me his last name. Travis, the scientist from NASA, is out there, and a bunch of really talented individuals. The point of me bringing all this story up is that, actually, I got to remember what Colm Kelleher. Colm Kelleher, when the government owned it before Brandon Fugel bought it, he had never, ever talked about Bigfoot related to Skinwalker Ranch. It was all about UFOs, the fact that werewolves have been seen there grabbing cows, and paranormal activity at Skinwalker Ranch. Now he has come out, and I saw where he talked about Bigfoot at Skinwalker Ranch. And it's because it's like a thing. You don't talk about it. We just don't talk about Bigfoot. It's weird. And people think that we have some big tinfoil hat or something. But to hear Colm Kelleher talk about it is probably the highest ranking government official that I've ever heard, aside from, I think, a senator from congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, has talked about Bigfoot. And I believe a couple of the Kentucky congressmen, maybe Mitch McConnell, and another, there's 2 brothers, and I can't think of their name, Kentucky congressmen, have talked about Bigfoot. Because if you do enough hunting, Travis Taylor, thank you so much, Julie. You're a blessing. Thank you. What would we do without Julie here? My goodness, thank you. Thank you so much. And all the mods. We have Brenna, our new mod, Terry Doria, new mod, have joined Sarah Shock and Horror, Captain Jerry Harris, the Jewel of Indiana, and who else? Am I missing anybody? I think I got everybody. Let me know.
Everybody.
Okay.
You have a great chat and great mods. I mean, what a blessing that is, right? Like to just have like-minded folks to just volunteer their time to help out. It's amazing. And you're creating that energy and you're receiving it through all of these wonderful people that are here. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm honored that they wanted to join us and collaborate with us, because it tells you, if you're seeing people that are really kind in the chat and then they want to be part of CAB, then that tells us, okay, we're doing something right. Certainly we screw up. Mostly I screw up, but we're doing something right that has drawn somebody like you would even come on our show. Tells us we're doing something right.
My God, the pleasure is all mine. Like, oh my God, to be here is such an honor. You have no idea. Like, it has just been such a, February was just kind of like a whirlwind, and to be here is just so awesome. And I'm just so grateful that you afford me the platform to be able to speak, even though I don't have anything necessarily established, but that we're able to have these conversations. And to all the wonderful people in the chat, I know there's a lot of long gamers here. What's up, long gamers? But it's just awesome to just collaborate with people that just are willing to have a conversation. So I thank you both for that. It's been such a pleasure to really get to know both of you, even behind the scenes. So, it's just awesome. And I thank you both.
Thank you. And
Oh, we love you.
we do.
Love
We admire you. And it's this is the whole thing, that when you get into YouTube, don't let it, and I don't mean you personally, Chimi, I mean for anybody out there, don't let it be something that you're going to count followers or count subscribers to have them on. You'll be making a big mistake that many have fallen into. If somebody can make great conversation, that's who you want to have on. If someone has some stimulating thoughts that they can convey to you, which is why the hell you want to have a YouTube channel, is to have conversation. It's not to become famous. If you chase fame, there's only a very small percentage of you that are going to be Logan Paul or Jake Paul or Mr. Beast or somebody like that, or whoever, Chef Nick, whatever his name is. There's very few people that are going to have that. Just chase great conversation, no matter what the hell the topic is, and you're going to be fine. And whatever will be, will be. Some shows you're going to have Jay Brill on and people are going to go crazy throwing super chats at the show. Great. And then you're going to have where nobody will super chat, and it's also great. And you're going to be like, awesome. Why was it awesome?
Great
Because
conversation.
we're awesome.
That's right. Great conversation. That's
Right.
And because we're awesome. Just saying. Just have to
Right.
throw that one out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah, we are awesome. I mean, I tell people, that criticize us, I say we fail. Sometimes we fail. And we try, but we fail. Sometimes we get it right. Sometimes we fail. It's life. That's what life is. Anybody who tells you they're successful 100% of the time is a liar. So you can just say liar and turn around and walk the other way. Everybody has faults and failures and make mistakes. And so there's those that admit that, and then those who try to cover it up with a veneer of perfection that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll just say just one last thing about that is just the weight of the opinions of others should never be a determining factor of how you see yourself. And that's something that I've had to learn as a woman as well, like with all the pressures of people want to get their lips done and they're, get all these weird treatments and all these things and try to keep up with unrealistic, unsustainable standards. That once you start removing all of those voices and truly listen to the one within of you and validating yourself without having to seek it outward. Yeah, it's nice to hear people say nice things, of course. And I'm grateful for that. But my inner compass is guided by something much larger. And that's the one I listen to over everything. And if you know what the crazy part is, everyone has access to that inner compass. It's just you making the active choice to choose it every single day is what solidifies that connection. So I don't care if you want to say it's source, God, the universe, whatever just keeps you grounded into leading a path towards doing things with integrity and living righteously, whatever that looks like, where it's not harming others, then you're on the right path. You're doing the human thing. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by what everyone else has to say. You're never going to catch me arguing. I think I might have said this to Bia. I was like, you're not going to catch me arguing with French toast 1, 2, 3 because you don't like what my cake looks like. I'm sorry. Absolutely not. I will never give my precious time and energy to those types of opinions when they don't add any value. If anything, that's a test for me to just consistently stay on point of I know you exist, you have a right to exist, but I have a right to not participate because my peace means more to me than anything else. With love and light, God bless.
I want to answer Ruthie's question also.
Ruthie, love her.
Ruthie Robles, homegirl, Latina. We got to get her on the Latina roundtable.
Yes.
So as far as money goes, I'll kind of explain to you guys what we do with it. Generally speaking, when we're doing a fundraiser, all that money obviously goes to the fundraiser, goes to like in this case, Karen, for the last one. We'll wait till we get paid on the 21st, and then we'll add a little bit of money, and then it'll go to Karen. In the other case, we don't really draw a lot of super chats, to be honest with you. It turned out during that Jay Brill episode, people were going ballistic and did super chat. So because Nathan, the co-creator of CAB, is the one who pays for StreamYard, he pays for Canva for us to do the artwork, and he pays the premium subscription for YouTube, for Twitter. So those are the monies that he lays out. And so we, in the case of like the Jay Brill, we took that money plus other super chats that you guys made for other shows, and we said, hey, pay off StreamYard for the year, Canva for the year, and the Twitter. And also he's paying taxes on that. Because it's not accounted for. There's no withholding done by YouTube. So he has to pay the taxes as well. So that, then we also give out gift cards to mods when we made a bunch of money, in say late 24, early 25, we gave out a lot of gift cards to mods and so forth. And as we get funds, we'll continue to do stuff like that. But I had to take this latest money that we got and let Nathan pay it, since you guys hardly ever see him on the show, but guess what? He's paying for the show. He's the one.
Shout out to Nathan.
Shout out to Nathan. I mean, if you haven't met him, and like Julie here is the one, and Julie and obviously Bia primarily are the ones who know him. He is an amazing human being. He really is. And his empathy, he has a master's in divinity. He's a preacher's son. Yes. And he's an incredible intellect beyond all that. He's just, he's a great orator as well. So if you've never seen Nathan, yeah, what Julie said here, you're going to see soon, because we're going to be having a CAB reunion, I believe in March, this month. And we're bringing everyone who has ever been a cabbie, and there are points where we had 5 of us on air, like me and 4 co-hosts. There are points when there was 4. So all the cabbies are going to come back. So you guys will get to see an episode where it's just going to be a free for all, talking UFOs and consciousness. And one of our guys is huge into Carl Jung and Terrence McKenna. His name is Kevin. He was one of the funniest members of CAB we ever had. Hilarious guy. So that should be interesting. But yeah, there's a lot more that a lot of you came here for the true crime. There's actually a lot more in the history, the 5 years of CAB, than what you've seen, than just myself and Bia, which most of you know. So thank you very much, Chimi. And there's a financial episode I heard you might be on.
Let's see. Allegedly. Let's see.
Allegedly. We'll have to bring some financial, and we'll have to do some ladies roundtables. Yeah, we have, we're working here too.
I always say to people, there's a lot of fun to have. There's a lot of fun yet to have. We haven't had all the fun yet. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you, Bia. Thank you, Chimi.
Yes.
Thank you, mods and chat. We love you guys. And,
thank you, everyone.
We'll see you soon. All right. Yeah.
We'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Heart thing.
Everyone. Yes. Love and light to everyone.
Yes. Love it. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Of course.
Spending your Sunday night with us. Yes. Thank you. And thank you, chat and mods, for everything.
Yeah. You guys rock. Should I play the save it for later?
Sure.
Yeah. Can I get an amen? Bye, everybody.
Bye, you guys.